Hey Larissa, so I wanted to give you a little update on Kessi here. Um, so she's definitely in the getting worse before she gets better stage. So um, it's been interesting the last couple of days, but just normal stuff. She's still figuring out what my cues mean and what I'm asking for, and then there's also, I think probably because she's had a full, and I don't know a lot about her background, but she definitely kind of has a do whatever she wants kind of attitude. And so we're having to kind of get through that stubbornness, but it's been good. So I haven't even put a halter on her since I put her in this pen. Everything's been just the very basics of groundwork. But I think once we kind of break through that, I think things are going to progress pretty quickly. So I like her a lot. She's very quick. She definitely learns quickly, but she also has quite a bit of stubbornness in there. So that kind of balances out the learning quickly because there's definitely some stubbornness. But I don't know if you can tell from that angle, but even just right now, so she's not looking at me directly head on. She's paying enough attention to me that she can catch my signals, but she's not looking at me directly. There, she looked at me directly for just a moment, but then turned away again. So at some point, I want to do a lot of just waiting for her to lick and chew, but I don't want to spend a lot of time waiting for the lick and chew. There's a good lick and chew. I'm going to back off here a little bit. Um, First, before we get to relaxation, we have to get to focus. And I need her to actually realize that I have the answers of what she needs to be doing. So if she'll just watch me, I'll tell her to go right, to go left, to stop, whatever. And if she'll just do that, everything will be really easy. But if she chooses not to do that, which like what she likes to do a lot of times is if I point to the right, she turns to the left, makes a full, 270-degree circle and goes off the other direction. And so when she does that, I get pretty forceful with her, pretty big. I'm waving the flag a lot to let her know that was the wrong thing to do. And then next time, she should just go the way I point. So, all right, let's get started with some groundwork. So she's been looking off to the left a lot. So I'm going to start out by pointing to the right. I'm going to point. Good. Excellent. That's exactly what I want. And so there's absolutely no pressure from the flag or from me. Now you see she goes into a trot anyway, so that's just useful information for me that there's enough anxiety in there that she can't just walk peacefully. So now I'm going to ask her to stop. She should roll in here, not like that. That's really good. But you see how when she rolls in, she's doing that look away thing, and then she kind of looks back real quick, and then she looks away, and then she looks back real quick. So there's a lot of anxiety about me being in the pen with her. She's very similar to that horse over there, Saint. Um, he does that same kind of look away, look at you, look away, look at you thing. And he's the only other horse I've really ever worked with that quite had that same mannerism. So it's really interesting. I'm still kind of trying to figure out exactly what it means, but what I do doesn't change. I'm just trying to learn what it means. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and send her to the left. She chose incorrectly. Good. So there was just that little bit of extra pressure, but she remembered what to do. So that was great. This is light years better than the last 3 days have been. So I'm really happy with that. The very first day I worked her, she just wanted to turn into the fence and run. Like right here, she would just turn away from me and go the other direction. And now she's staying connected to me. This walking is nice. I'm going to go ahead and ask her to stop here. She rolls around really good. Now she didn't completely face me. I'm not going to get mad at her for that, but I am going to pretty quick ask her to go to the right, which is going to be difficult for her because she's set up to go to the left. She's probably not going to go to the right. She's probably going to roll around to the left, and I'm going to get pretty forceful with her if she does that. Okay, I'm going to ask her to go to the right. She's got a decision to make here. I'm going to start to increase the pressure. Good, and she made the right decision. Yesterday, there's no way she would have made that correct decision. So all the work I did yesterday really has helped. This is actually quite good right here. I'm going to ask her to stop. She rolls around, but she doesn't fully face up. So I'm going to go ahead and ask her to go to the left. And there she makes the correct decision. Always want to give her plenty of time to make that correct decision, but I'm not just going to give her forever. I'm gonna slowly, incrementally increase that pressure. All right, but she didn't fully roll around, so I'm going to send her to the right. Good. This is what I like. It should be a flow. It should be a stop and a go, and a stop and a go. The last 3 days have not been that at all. Better. Now she fully faces up, but you see she's not. She faced up, but she didn't lock in. She faced up and had her head turned away. So just valuable information. I'm not going to change anything about it, but she's kind of looking off to the left, so I'm going to ask her to go to the right. Good. Give her a chance to stop. Now she overdid it, so I'm going to ask her to go to the right again. And there she goes the wrong direction. So there's some extra pressure. So I think what's happening here is her mind is like a muscle that has not been worked out very much. And when she's fresh, she can focus and she can do all the stuff correctly. If you notice, the best the best groundwork we've done was at the beginning. But usually, groundwork gets better as you go. But with her, it's getting worse each time. And I think that's because her brain is getting tired. And the more tired it gets, the more it reverts back to what's easy for it, which is to block me out. And the more she blocks me out, the more she does the wrong thing, which is to turn away from me and, and not stand here and be connected to me and everything. Um, and so all we need, just like a muscle, all you can do with that is exercise it. Just like a muscle, a lot of times when you exercise, you go all the way to while your muscle fails and you don't do a very good rep, right? You're benching or whatever, or squatting, and your last rep's not going to look good at all, but you come back the next day and your muscles are bigger and stronger. All right. She's kind of bent around to the left, so I'm going to go ahead and send her to the right again. So she just needs a whole lot of this, exercising her brain. I think she knows the right answers. It's not like a total cult where you literally are teaching the answers, but she's just not exercised at it. Now she didn't face up, so I'm going to send her the opposite direction. Good. Oh, see, she knew what to do there, and she just said, "Nah, I just can't do it." So lots of pressure there. Give her another opportunity here. Ask her to stop. She didn't quite face up. Oh, she knew what to do. Is she going to make the right choice? No, can't come this way. If you turn your butt to me, there's a lot of pressure. So yesterday, kind of what you've seen the last two episodes right here is what the last 3 days have been just the entire time. The fact that we had like 15 minutes of really good work here, or however many minutes that was, and now it's getting bad, tells me that it's a fatigue thing. It's a mental fatigue, and that the exercise we've been doing for these days is helping. She knows what to do. Is she going to do it? No, no, that's not the right answer. That's the right answer. And I talked about the stubbornness. I think what you're seeing right there is she knows that yielding and doing what I ask is yielding and more or less giving up some control or power, if you will, because she's doing what I tell her to do. And I don't think there's anything inherently scary about going either direction, but I think there's something inherently scary to her about doing what I tell her to do. And so that's something we really got to work through. She needs to get to where she relaxes into the idea of doing what I tell her to do, not get scared of it. See, she almost went right there. There was no reason for her not to go there. She knows if she just does that, there's no pressure. I've never waved at the flag at her once for doing that right there. After 3 days, you would think she would know that. And I do think she knows that. I just think that there's too much um, anxiety about cooperating with a human, basically, to just do it. Ask her to stop. She didn't quite face up. I'm going to ask her to go the other direction. Good. She yielded. Now we still have a long ways to go, right? Because even though she yielded, she went off at that really extreme kind of racy trot. But we'll get to that later. Right now, she just needs to go the direction I'm telling her to go. Ask her to stop. And it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. I'm going to ask her to go the other direction. And she yielded through. Good. She thought about it, and she yielded through. So what we're doing here is connecting neurons and exercising the brain and teaching her how to think. As far as riding and being under saddle, I don't really care if she knows how to go left and go right when I point. Like, that doesn't really affect being under saddle. But what does affect being under saddle is how many neurons she has connected and how smart she is. The smarter she is when we go to be under saddle, the easier a time everything's going to be. Now I like this. You can see she's kind of preparing herself. She was backing up, so she has more reaction time between me and her, and she was more facing on so that if I point right or left, she's ready to go either direction. I really like that. I also like that she's really connected and looking me in the eyes and not looking off to the side. And so yeah, as long as she stays connected with me right here, I'm probably not going to send her either direction. I'm going to allow her to just so I'll explain this a little bit too. So what I call this right here is an unstable state. So a horse that's right here, she's not going to stay in that mental state forever. She's not going to just stand there, stand still, not lick and chew, be tense, but not go anywhere and not start eating forever. Right? That's not how horses work. Horses walk and graze and walk and graze. That's their natural state of things. So this is an unstable state. Like any unstable state, it wants to stabilize. There are a lot of different things that she could do to get to a stable state. She could do what she's doing right there. There's the lick and chew. That's what we want. She could do all the wrong things, which would be to walk off, to walk up towards me, to look off in the distance and get locked onto something and get really scared, or to there's a million different things, but these are basically coping mechanisms that the horse is using. The one thing that I want the horse to find is just that lick and chew, like she's doing right now. That's the relaxation. All that head shaking and all that other stuff, that's her frustration of not being able to use the coping mechanisms that she's used most of her life. Her entire life, she has walked up onto a human and been able to just get in the human space and use the human basically as her coping mechanism. I'm no longer allowing that. She knows that over the last couple of days. She knows if she goes to walk off or walks up to me, she's going to have to go back to work. So we've eliminated those coping mechanisms. And so she just has to stand there. And then what does she have left? Well, it's to lick and chew and relax. Or shake her head and throw it around, but those things will go away as well. But now when she looks and chews, she's being her own person or her own being over there. She's not using walking around or grazing or being up close to a human to give her that mental stability. She's finding that mental stability on her own. And that's what we really want. So I might do just a little bit more here. I don't want to go, okay, now she went off like that on her own. So I'm going to simply send her the opposite direction. She went to the left. I'm going to ask her to go to the right. And she's very not set up to go to the right, right? Because she was literally going to the left. There she goes to the right. But next time that situation happens, I want her to think, man, there's no point in me running off to the left because he's about to ask me to go to the right. Or there's no point in running off to the right because he's about to ask me to go to the left, right? All right, I like this right here. She's facing me pretty well. Not perfectly, but pretty well. She's looking me in the eyes. Let's see how she responds to this unstable state that she's in. I think also this is I don't know this for sure from science or anything, but I think that shaking of the head, the tossing and everything is a very dominant behavior. And so I think she's a very dominant horse. That's nice right there. I don't hope you can see it in the camera, but her head came down. She's looking and chewing. That's exactly what I want. I'll probably be done on that for today. But yeah, I think she's a very dominant horse, at least over humans. I don't know if she's dominant in a herd, but I think that's kind of where the stubbornness and the just fighting against doing what I'm telling her to do, not because she's scared of doing it, but because she just doesn't want to do it. But that's okay. We'll we'll keep working on that. So I'm going to be done on that for today. I don't want to wear out her brain, um, especially with these newer horses, not younger necessarily, but just newer to my program. I like to do a lot of shorter sessions throughout the day because I don't like to tire out their brain. I want them to have a fresh brain, and so I'll probably be done there. And we have to get to a dinner appointment for Anna's parents. So anyway, I hope that was interesting and enlightening. Overall, I like where she's at. I like the progress we're making. We're just chugging along every day, normal horse stuff. So, anyway, talk to you later.